I am Damonous. Jesus is my king. You are my family. Hello, I am Damonous. Thanks for joining. Today, a very important event occurred. The Washington Post released a transcript of President Trump's first phone calls with both the President of Mexico and the Prime Minister of Australia. Now, it's unknown how these transcripts got in their hands. Going back to CNN, and we also have their statements about the Australian transcript.
Transcript comes from the president's call with the Prime Minister that reveals the two leaders bickering over an Obama administration plan to welcome refugees from Australia. During the conversation, the president says he had a much friendlier call earlier in the day with Russia's Vladimir Putin. It is an embarrassment to the United States of America, and you can say it just the way I said it. I will say it just that way. As far as I'm concerned, that is enough, Malcolm. I have had it. I've been making these calls all day, and that is the most unpleasant call all day. Putin was a pleasant call. This is ridiculous. The president had said that any reports of a testy call were fake news. The tense exchange leaked earlier this year made a splash on Saturday Night Live.
Tired and cranky, and I feel like I could just freak out on somebody.
Then maybe you should call Australia.
You know, of course, the first thing that they equate to is, oh, how ridiculous and absurd it is for the president to be upset with one of our allies. But here again, you have to read this article. You have to read the transcript. If they're going to bring it out, if they're going to, however covertly they got this information, if they're going to bring it out, put it in front of you, and then try and tell you and me what we should take from this, the one sentence out of context, or show Saturday Night Live and try and make fun of it. We owe it to our government, to the people who did vote for Trump, whether or not you're a Trump supporter. We owe it to the process of democracy to take a look at what was said and not what the mainstream media is trying to pump into our brains. So actually this call starts pretty abruptly, and they start talking about international affairs, and Trump mentions the problem with we do not have uniforms standing in front of us. Instead, we have people in disguise. It is brutal, this ISIS thing. It's something we're going to have to devote a lot of energy to it. I think we're going to be very successful. Australian Prime Minister, absolutely. We have, as you know, taken a very strong line on national security and border protection here. And they actually have some interesting conversation here. This is the Australian Prime Minister. He says, we are very much of the same mind. It is very interesting to know how you prioritize the minorities in your executive order. This is exactly what we have done with the program to bring in 12,000 Syrian refugees, 90% of it which will be Christians. This is not Trump saying this. This is the Australian Prime Minister on their policy. It will be quite deliberate, and the position I've taken, I've been very open about it, is that it is a very tragic fact of life that when the situation in the Middle East settles down, the people that are going to be the most unlikely to have a continuing home are those Christian minorities. So here again, if you just read the article, you'll see that Trump isn't alone in some of the thoughts that he's having. Other foreign heads of foreign states are having very similar thoughts. Now, Trump is following the conversation thread that was begun by Turnbull. And he says, but if you're a Christian from Syria, that you have no chance of getting into the United States. I just thought it was an incredible statistic. Totally true. And you have seen the same thing. It is incredible. And then, this is where the Australian Prime Minister goes and says, well, yes, Mr. President, can I return to the issue of the resettlement agreement that we had with the Obama administration with respect to some people on Nauru and Manus Island? I've written to you about this, and Mike Pence and General Finn spoke with Julie Bishop and my national security advisor yesterday. And Trump says, well, I just called for a total ban on Syria, and from many different countries where there is terror and extreme vetting for everyone else. And somebody told me yesterday that close to 2,000 people are coming who are really probably troublesome. And I'm saying, boy, that will make us look awfully bad. Here I am calling for a ban when I'm not letting anybody in, and we take 2,000 people. Really, it looks like 2,000 people that Australia does not want. And I do not blame you, by the way, but the United States has become like a dumping ground. And you know, Malcolm, anybody that has a problem, you remember the Mario boat lift, where Castro let everyone out of prison and Jimmy Carter accepted them with open arms. These were brutal people. Nobody said Castro was stupid. But now what are we talking about is 2,000 people that are actually imprisoned and would actually come into the United States. I heard about this. I have to say I love Australia. I love the people of Australia. I have so many friends from Australia. But I said, geez, that is a big ask, especially in the light of the fact that we're so heavily not in favor, but we have no choice but to stop things. We have to stop. We have allowed so many people into our country that should not be here. And he talks about all the terrorism attacks. Yes, the agreement, which the Vice President just called the Foreign Minister about less than 24 hours ago and said your administration would be continuing, does not require you to take 2,000 people. It does not require you to take any. It requires in return for us to do a number of things for the United States. This is a big deal. I think we should respect deals. Who made the deal? Obama? Yes, but let me describe what it is. I think it is quite consistent. I think you can comply with it. Now note, this is another blue highlighted section. That is the only text that the mainstream media wants you to read, that the Prime Minister says, it is quite consistent. I think you can comply with it. None of the other text, none of the other quotes from Trump saying, why are we bringing in 2,000 people? And I should probably do a video just on this because it's fascinating when you see the filthy violation of human rights that the Australians are doing with these people on these islands. And it's their problem, and somehow they got Obama to agree to dump it on the United States. Trump says, why haven't you let them out? Why have you not let them into your society? Because the Prime Minister is trying to say, oh, well, they're not that bad. You can vet them all yourself. They'll be great. He says, okay, I will explain why. It's not because they are bad people. It is because in order to stop people smugglers, we had to deprive them of the product. So we said that if you try to come to Australia by boat, even if we think you are the best person in the world, even if you are a Nobel Prize winning genius, we will not let you in. Because the problem with the people, and then Trump says, that is a good idea, we should do that too. You are worse than I am. This is our experience. Because you do not want to destroy your country. Look at what happened in Germany. He talks about that Merkel, actually, behind the scenes, doesn't wishes she could take back what she did to Germany and letting all these refugees in. I stood up, and this is the Prime Minister, I stood up at the UN in September and set up what our immigration policy was. I said that you cannot maintain popular support for immigration policy, multiculturalism, unless you control your borders. The bottom line is that we got there. I'm asking you as a very good friend. This is a big deal. It is really, really important to us that you maintain it. It does not oblige you to take one person that you do not want. So here again, the part that they want you to focus on is this is a big deal to the Australians. It is really, really important to us. It doesn't oblige you to take one person that you do not want. They skip over the part where he says, hey, this is how, he's essentially saying, well, we got there. We figured out how to control our borders. Trump asks, Malcolm, why is this so important? I do not understand. This is going to kill me. I'm the world's greatest person that does not want to let people into the country. And now I'm agreeing to take 2,000 people, and I agree I can vet them. But that puts me in a bad position. It makes me look so bad, and I have only been here a week. With great respect, that is not right. It's not 2,000. Well, it is close. I've heard like 5,000 as well. The given number in the agreement is 1,250, and it is entirely a matter of your vetting. I think that what you could say is that the Australian government is consistent with the principles set out in the executive order. He's talking about Trump's executive order because it compares what he's wanting Trump to do to the order that President Trump had just signed, saying restricting people from the terrorist nation. Trump is getting frustrated and says, "No, I don't want it. I do not want to say that. I will just have to say that. Unfortunately, I will have to live with what was said by Obama. I will hate this. I will say I hate it. Look, I spoke to Putin, Merkel, Abe of Japan, and to France today, and this was my most unpleasant call because I will be honest with you. I hate taking these people. I guarantee you they are bad. That is why they are in prison right now. They are not going to be wonderful people who go on to work for the local milk people." Turnbull says, "I would not be so sure about that. They're basically, well, maybe you should let them out of prison. I'm doing this because Obama made a bad deal. I'm not doing this because it fits into my executive order. I'm taking 2,000 people from Australia who are in prison, and the day before, I sign an executive order saying that we are not taking anybody in. We are not taking anybody in. These days are over." So Trump goes on and talks about how he does not like this deal. And he says, "I hate having to do it, but I'm still going to vet them very closely. Suppose I vet them closely and I do not take any." The Prime Minister says, "That's the point I've been trying to make." Trump says, "How does that help you?" "Well, we assume that we will act in good faith." And Trump goes back to, "Does anybody know who these people are? Who are they? Where do they come from? Are they going to become the Boston bomber in 5 years or 2 years? Who are these people?" "Let me explain. We know exactly who they are. They have been on Nauru and Manus for over 3 years, and the only reason we cannot let them go into Australia is because of our commitment to not allow people to come by boat. Otherwise, we would have to let them in. If they had arrived by airplane and with a tourist visa, then they would be here." Malcolm: "But they are arrived on a boat." "Correct. We have stopped the boats." So the Prime Minister continues here. He says, "Please, if we can agree to stick to the deal. You have complete discretion in terms of a security assessment. The numbers are not 2,000 but 1,250 to start. Basically, we are taking people from the previous administration that they were very keen on getting out of the United States. We will take more. We will take anyone that you want us to take. The only people that we do not take are people who come by boat. So we would rather take a not very attractive guy that helps you out than to take a Nobel Peace Prize winner that comes by boat. That is the point." Trump responds with what I think is the funniest part of this whole conversation. "What is the thing with boats? Why do you discriminate against boats? No, I know, they come from certain regions, I get it." And the Prime Minister then tries to describe, well, because it has to do with human trafficking and all this stuff and boats. But realistically here, what's been going on is the mainstream media is trying to focus on the statement where he says, "I spoke to Putin, Merkel, and this was my most unpleasant call." They want you to focus on that, like, oh, see, he loves Putin, right? But in the context, you've seen now, this was a ridiculous conversation with an ally. I think what Trump was really trying to say is, hey, I've got a tough guy. I've got the Russian president, and I've got all these really tough problems in other countries. And here, the call with you about these ridiculous refugees, these people that you don't want, that the Australian rejects, that has been the worst call of the day. It's all said and done, I don't know what to say. It's just an incredible time we're living in. It's just amazing. I've known for so much of my life how deceptive the mainstream media has been. But I never thought I would get to this level of just outright, it's so obvious they're lies. I mean, their lies are just folded in each other, and they're just hoping and praying that you don't really read what they have there. And they're giving it to you, too, because they've done it for years like this. But now is the time. Now is the time. You need to open up. You need to look. You need to read what they're pointing you to. Everything. Not just a little snippet that they want you to hone in on. Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Catch me on these alternate media sources.